So the special counsel, the former head of the FBI, Robert Mueller, is in hot water and in trouble right now after presenting his report showing there was no Russian collusion, and this was all a big jokes on the levels of weapons of mass destruction. And now some people are calling, of course, for his indictment. Some powerful Democrats are calling for his subpoena. And Jason, this is absolutely insane because you would think the country would be happy that this report finally came out. This information finally came out. And guess what? There was no subversion of our democracy. There was no interference. There was no puppeteering by Vladimir Putin of Donald Trump. That none of that. People, you would think rational people in our society would be like, wow, I'm happy that this happened. Not the Democrats, not the mainstream media that have egg on their face. Let's play their clip because this really shows you the temperament of where they are at right now.
Defend democracy, right? What is the Army motto? This we'll defend. They should be saying right now, I don't care what's in that report. We're going to go to town and we're going to find out what the facts are.
Well, I don't care what's in that report. I don't care what's in that report. I thought we cared what was in the report. I mean, seriously.
No, truth doesn't matter here. People were literally so brainwashed. They were talking about how they don't want to die before this Mueller report comes out because they want to see Trump finally held accountable. The majority of the United States were convinced that Russia colluded with the United States. And now we're having very powerful Democrats who are part of this lie. And again, it's not only just the mainstream media that needs to be held accountable. It's also all the former intelligence agencies. It's also right now the Democrats who are not willing to admit that, hey, they were absolutely wrong. Jason, if you want to cut me off. But I kind of want to get into this thing where Adam Schiff now, the representative of the United States, is threatening to subpoena Mueller, quote, if evidence is necessary. Bill Maher also laid into Robert Mueller yesterday again saying facts don't matter, information doesn't matter, and had a representative on the show saying, yeah, subpoenas are coming.
Yeah, let's play that clip, Luke, because, I used to watch Bill Maher back in the day. I used to respect politically incorrect, but this is just horse pucky. Let's be honest. It's about a minute clip. We'll probably play a couple, maybe stop it here so we don't get a copyright strike. But the bottom line is, again, one guy's not interested in facts. I've been saying this for weeks now. They're trying to pivot to obstruction of justice to get an impeachment charge because they knew that this was not going to be Russian collusion. That's why they were going into business dealings and trying to get him about lying and campaign funds. And although none of that Stormy Daniels stuff seemed to pan out for Robert Mueller, I mean, we all know that Trump's a liar. It's not going to be hard to get him on some kind of lying charge. And if you can morph that into obstruction, as they're talking about here, Luke, the saga will never end. So let's just hear it.
I'm just going to go by what we do know. And I must say, I don't think it looks good. No further indictments, which means not Don Jr., even after I love it memo, really? Not Jared, not Manafort or Stone for working with the Russians. Did the Democrats put too much trust in the Mueller report? Because
let me just
where did he work with the Russians?
Yes, they did put too much trust. Not so much the Democrats, because most of the upper echelon establishment Democrats just took part in the system. They were given talking points. They knew what to talk about. For instance, Cummings, in one of those hearings, had people stand behind him with pictures of those people who had been indicted. Didn't matter. They had nothing to do with Russia, acting like this was a big thing. So they had their talking points. And then the public, who are Democrats, were blindsided by their lying politicians and lying media, and they fell for the hoax too. So those people, Bill, yes, they did invest too much in a liar's lying report that couldn't lie enough to get,
based on no evidence, financed by the political enemy and the establishment of the opponent who's in charge now for political power. Absolutely insane. Let's play the rest of this clip because it gets even crazier.
Because I don't need the Mueller report to know he's a traitor. I have a TV.
Of course you don't.
And people
yes, you have the TV
on their way to jail.
He had they're on this is the talking point. They're on their way to jail.
Absolutely insane. These people are crazy. They lost it. They're like, oh, the Lord Savior television tells me everything I need to know. So yes, he's still going like delusion. Absolute delusion. The report says no collusion. The report, I mean, that's not exactly what, we don't know what the report says, but the report of coming out, the details are coming out, no indictments. Absolutely insane. Let's go to this clip.
have gone to jail. There's probably a farming out of other investigations. But yes, if you have a TV or a Twitter account, you've already seen obstruction of justice.
Oh, they've already seen obstruction of justice.
Yeah.
Oh, they've already seen that. People are going to jail, Luke. I don't need to look at the report to know he's a traitor.
But this is important here. This is important. The television and Twitter told me, though, the television and Twitter, the Twitter personalities and the verified people told. That's not evidence, you idiot. You're a schmuck. You shouldn't be a representative of the U.S. government. You little. Sorry, go ahead. I can't. Family-friendly show. You're more creative with the family-friendly curse words, but.
I think the team has seen that. But here's what's important, is that the public sees the report contemporaneously with the president. He should not be allowed to edit. He should not be allowed to restrict or sanitize.
The president
and Mueller has to come before Congress
the president says he wants to report
its
out.
veracity as far as what
Can
Barr
you make that happen?
Yeah, we're going to subpoena him, and Adam Schiff announced that.
We are going to subpoena him.
Yeah. Hey, that's fine. Listen, I'm fine with all that, but here's what's going to happen. Let's say they have a hearing, Luke. All right? Let me break this down for you. When they have the hearing, it's going to be more of like a show trial to say, well, Mr. Mueller, despite this report, do you think that there's still a possibility that the president broke the law during these proceedings? Well, I wouldn't want to judge, but I certainly could see how some prosecutor could construe that there were laws broken, and so then we need another hearing. We need another special counsel. We need another investigator. We need to charge this president with whatever we can to get him out of office.
Again, that Democratic representative said that there was obstruction. Even Vox said it themselves. There was no instances in which a proposed action by Mueller was blocked by his Justice Department superiors due to being inappropriate or unwarranted under DOJ practices. I mean, this investigation literally spied on Donald Trump, literally had FBI agents break down his lawyer's door and confiscate his information. Barack Obama would have never allowed any of this to happen. People need to understand the bigger context here. Again, right now, Mueller didn't find Trump guilty of Russian collusion. Somehow he wasn't able to string things together. They don't care. They're still going to subpoena him. People are even calling for his indictment. People are heartbroken. People are obviously devastated. CNN. Then the title that they're running with right now, Dems warn of subpoena if Mueller report and evidence not turned over to Congress. Now their vows to subpoena, take fight to Supreme Court to get full Mueller report. I mean, Donald Trump said he's going to release the report. There's going to be condensed information because, again, it's confidential. But I bet this report is going to come out regardless. But they're fighting and they're grasping for straws over nothing. And it's absolutely delusional that now Robert Mueller, again, we talked about this. We know Robert Mueller from his FBI days, ever since his 9/11 days. This is a guy that does deserve to be indicted on some other stuff that he did before. Not for this stuff, because, again, we were calling it from day one. We were attacked from day one. We were called Russian collaborators for exposing it and not believing this lie, which, again, is just like the same lie of weapons of mass destruction. But, again, let's get into Robert Mueller, because there are some things about him that have a very, very, very sketchy past, with him, of course, working with the establishment on bigger kind of projects and objectives out there that, again, don't surprise anyone at all. Right, Jason?
Yeah, absolutely, Luke. Before I get into Mueller, I do want to talk to your point about how this is connected to the Iraq war lies. Now, certainly, many, many more people have lost their life because of the Iraq war. However, this is the death blow, according to people like Matt Taibbi, for the mainstream media, the way that they touted this hoax, just like they touted weapons of mass destruction in Iraq.
Jason, really quick, let me cut you off. I'm really sorry. Robert Mueller pushed that WMD lie. Robert Mueller was one of the big spokespersons out there saying, yep, they have weapons of mass destruction. We have to invade Iraq. Again, there's people. Sorry, Jason, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, that's absolutely true. That was going to be my next point, kind of just bringing this in. That's just one of the lies that Robert Mueller told, with people like Colin Powell, people like Ari Fleischer, everybody in the Bush-Cheney team, from Rumsfeld to Wolfowitz to Karl Rove. I could go on and on and on. However, it started out with an event before that, Luke. It started out with Robert Mueller actually covering up 9/11 and the truth behind that. And I know a lot of people are uncomfortable with that fact, but you had whistleblowers within the FBI like Robert Wright and others trying to say, hey, we know how the money moved. We know where the funding is. We had that initial congressional report that clearly outlined just the Saudi Arabian funding. We now know about the Pakistani ISI funding, stuff that is still either obfuscated, not talked about, or covered up to this day under who? The head of the FBI at the time, Robert Mueller. He is no saint. He is an establishment lying politician. He is somebody who should be a war criminal, who enabled the deaths of at least hundreds of thousands of Afghanis, Iraqis, now Syrians, people in Somalia. You got to understand, this war on terror is very far-reaching, and it started out with establishment lies that were perpetrated by Mueller and his cronies, Luke.
Exactly. Great points you made there, Jason. Jason, I sent you a short 30-second clip of Mueller here, which I think is important to watch here. If you could just load that up really quickly. But people need to understand here, if we had a rational,
Director Tenet is
normal society, we would be happy. Hey,
as
there was an
Director Tenet
investigation.
has pointed out,
Russians
Secretary
weren't able to usurp, weren't able to control our president. There's no collusion here. That's a great thing. And if we're going to indict Robert Mueller, if we had a rational society, it would be for his lies. It would be for his past behavior, not for investigating this thing. Again, this is why you can't trust the swamp. You can't trust Washington, D.C. So many things are just absolutely insane, and they're just criminals that keep regurgitating lies and lies and lies. And the only reason they're able to get away with it is because the mainstream media doesn't hold them accountable. These people deserve accountability, not only for Iraq and WMDs, but right now the Russian investigation, and there should be some serious repercussions behind this. Let's play this clip because this clip pretty much tells you everything I think we need to know about the establishment and their bigger perpetration of lies against you.
As Director Tenet has pointed out, Secretary Powell presented evidence last week that Baghdad has failed to disarm its weapons of mass destruction.
Oh, they failed to disarm the weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist. The ones that George Tenet, the head of the CIA, talked about, and Colin Powell.
But look at his body language. His body. Let's play the clip because look at his body language.
Start it again. Here. He can't even look at the. He can't look at the camera. He can't look at the. I believe this is a congressional testimony.
He's talking to Representative Rockefeller.
Director Tenet has pointed out, Secretary Powell presented evidence last week that Baghdad has failed to disarm its weapons of mass destruction, willfully attempting to evade and deceive the international community. Our particular concern is that Saddam Hussein may supply terrorists with biological, chemical, or radiological.
I mean, obviously, you just see from his body language, again, just cowering, not looking. Many body language experts look at that footage and all the other people who were just perpetrating the lie, a known lie, that there was weapons of mass destruction, caused massive destruction. And people need to understand here, this Russian collusion was extremely serious. It pushed us closer to war. It criminalized diplomacy, and it was a threat to our national security. And it created a situation where right now we have a sitting president that has been the most aggressive ever since the Cold War against Russia. And it's created a very, very horrible geopolitical situation, which we cover on this channel. Other than that, Jason, I have nothing else to say. Mueller is feeling a lot of pressure. He's feeling pressure for the wrong reasons. And we live in an insane society that has things completely backwards. Anything else you want to say? And do you want to close it off, Jason?
Guys, I really don't have anything else to say other than please, please, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Subscribe to the backup channel, Pulse Change, which we are changing the name of soon, we promise. This channel, but most importantly, don't buy into the propaganda. Just because someone says Russia, Russia, Russia doesn't make it so. So you got to go out there, folks, and you got to be the change you want to see in the world.